I just got done watching Amazing Atheist's video on Ayn Rand, Ayn Rand, however the fuck you're supposed to pronounce it, dude. But yeah, it really made me think of, you guys remember when Jon Stewart was the shit, and he still kind of is, but he's not really as much anymore, and everyone kind of knows who he is, and he's kind of old hat. But remember back when he was so cool, and it was the 2004 election, and he put out America the Book, and on the back there was this quote from a fake Ayn Rand who said, I'm just gonna fucking call her Ann. I don't care about how you're fucking supposed to pronounce it. Stupid, correct pronunciation. Fuck that. Here, let's see if... You know what, fucking, I'm just gonna put a still up. So it says, "This is similar to my works, in that anyone who reads it is sure to be an asshole for at least a month afterward." And I happen to agree with that statement myself. I haven't read Atlas Shrugged. I read all of The Fountainhead, though. So for whatever that's worth, that's kind of my perspective on Ayn Rand. And first of all, anyone who thinks that Ayn Rand's literature is any great art is completely and utterly delusional. As a philosopher, I guess she is worth studying. Don't really care for much of what she has to say. But I think with Ayn Rand, the case is just like she was a complete asshole. And Soapy, she was famous for that, and she like anyone who she opposed, she like just completely chewed him up, and so everyone liked her for that. But I read The Fountainhead, and it was like a trashy romance novel for people who love money instead of people, basically. Yeah. So, like, anyone who says that Ayn Rand has no talent for absurdism, however, is completely wrong, because you read the ending to that, it's like this dude builds some homeless or like poor house or something like that. It was 3 years ago when I read this, so I don't remember it perfectly, but he built this homeless shelter, right? And but he hates poor people because they just mooch off the rich, of course, and so he builds this fucking homeless shelter that's like 3 times more efficient than anything else. And then the day before it's supposed to open, he blows it up. And then they take him to court, but he just gives this dynamite-ass speech. He just fucking knocks it out of the park, and all the jurors just let him off. And it was the most glorious day ever, and everything like that. And if that's not absurdist, I mean, like, Camus is the greatest absurdist of all time, most would say. And this makes The Stranger look like fucking Aristotle ethics or something like that. I mean, the dude, what happens in The Stranger? He just shoots a guy, right? And that's the absurdist bent of that movie or book. Shit, that book. And the whole fucking jury lets him off when he obviously, and he admits to blowing the fucking place up, but he's just so fucking logical that they let him off completely guiltless and everything. It's wonderful. Let me regroup here. I want to talk a little about Atlas Shrugged and what I know of the premise of it, which is basically that there are these two or three, I don't know, rich people, or not rich, but powerful and important people, and who are basically, I mean, the title says it all. Atlas, they're like Atlas, they're holding the whole world up, and they shrug and the whole world falls and millions of people die because of the two people that make the world turn and everything like that. But this is one of the reasons why I don't fully subscribe to this hyper-capitalism to begin with. I mean, the idea that, you know, you do things and you're rewarded proportionally for the effort you put into them makes sense. And it's not even unfair to increase, like, an element of uncertainty to that. I mean, you put all this work into it, and maybe it won't pay off at all. It also, like, I mean... You can't just be working towards nothing, of course. Like the whole idea of markets adds a degree of practicality to it as well, while preserving like a personal motivation, which is a good idea. But one of the failings of it, I think, and which is the complete fallacy of Atlas Shrugged, is that she assumes that these two people take off and like no one can do what they're doing, right? Hold on, let me get this shit. No one can run the world like they do, and if anyone tries to step in, then the world collapses and people die and there's misery and everything. But that's just not the case. I mean, well, first of all, Amazing Atheist points out, and he doesn't really give any sources, but I kind of agree with him just because of the research I've done, it seems to be the case that the people who are the people who are making the wheels of society turn, I guess, aren't that brilliant. And it's not as if there aren't like 5 people that can do the same jobs as them. And this is kind of brings me to my point that for all the people who cause society to run, there have got to be at least 10 people out there that could if they wanted to, and many of whom want to but are not allowed the opportunity because the people who already are in place are keeping it going. And the Atlas Shrugged point of view goes contrary to something that this guy Goat was saying. Among other people, this was an anarchist video, and I'll go back to that. But this idea that if there's a company on the free market that's doing fucked up shit, a lot of times the capitalists will say, well, the free market will correct that, and if so why won't the free market correct the fact that if these 2 people drop out? You're telling me that there's only 2 people that can do this job? Come on. One more thing, and this is going out to Dildy Monique, who is very cordial to me in PMs. Doesn't respond to anything I say in like the couple of videos I made to her. She gets so fucking pissed off when people talk about comparing Rand to Nietzsche, and she's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? You're so fucking stupid. They had nothing to do with each other." And I think that's a bit unwarranted, to be frank. Nietzsche and Rand, you characterize Rand as being about justice and Nietzsche about being will to power, and fair enough. But Nietzsche and Rand, both at the core, I mean, you look at what is the premise of Atlas Shrugged, the way I just summed it up, that these 2 people drop out and the world explodes, or something like that. And also central to Nietzsche is the Übermensch ideal, right? So how are these 2 people that cause the world to blow up when they leave, how are they not Übermensch, whatever the fuck it is, fucking German? How is that not? How are those 2 central ideas of their philosophy not nearly identical? And how do you get off calling people fucking idiots when they when they draw that comparison? I mean, that's off base, man. I'm sorry. And you have some cool things to say. I think I'm probably like Amazing Atheist in that I agree with you on 80% of the stuff. But I don't know. You're probably just venting. You and Amazing Atheist, I guess I have 79% in common with you, because that 1% is that you both get really pissed off when people disagree with you, and people disagreeing with me is not so much a problem, which is why I'm not a big YouTube smash hit like you 2 guys. But I mean, whatever. Basically, that's wrapping up my Ayn Rant for this evening. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
It has a semi-autobiographical feel about it.